Mourning people who are still alive is a very weird place to be in. A lot of times when you are leveling up, when you're transforming yourself, when you're going to the next level, it takes you letting go of a lot. And sometimes that includes people. I am someone who is very sentimental. I keep things that really have no financial value just because it reminds me of an experience or an encounter that I've shared with someone. And I like to say I am I'm a lover girl, but I'm a leaver. I will say that. So I don't know if that makes any sense. But I am very sentimental. I understand my feelings. I go with them. I don't let them lead me because that's not really smart. It doesn't really help you in the long run. However, all this to say, I am someone who it's not easy for me to be like, okay, bon voyage, move on, I don't care. It takes a lot for me to get to that point where I have to release a friendship, a relationship, any type of connection with someone. But you have to understand in order for you to really win and succeed at life, you need to get comfortable with the idea of mourning people who are still alive. So many women I know, so many beautiful, bright, they have a capability of being someone great. They get trapped in environments that don't serve them because they can't understand this concept. And it happens a lot with families, it happens a lot with friendships, it happens a lot with relationships where you will be trying to go on to your next path and your next journey, but the people around you will try to keep you stagnant. At one point when I was, almost I'd say a third of the way to my weight loss goal, I was getting kind of some pushback from friends. Like it was unbelievable. I was really getting to the point where I was healthy, I was feeling confident in myself, feeling happy, yet I was getting pushback. It's something I couldn't understand. Obviously, I'm not friends with these people anymore, but it's not like, okay, well, someone doesn't like what I do, then I have to cut them off and move on. No, it's deeper than that. You have to understand that a lot of times when you meet people at your lowest, if they were happy and comfortable with you being there, you trying to succeed past that is going to be a problem. And those are the people you have to mourn, even though they are still alive. I can't tell you how many times I've literally had an aha moment and I realized, wow, this person I'm talking to is low key a monitoring spirit. This person I'm friends with is low key a hater. This person that I'm wishing the best for is low key wishing the worst for me. This happens. And especially when you are the emotional friend, when you are the, I guess, lover girl, when you are someone who's very sentimental and you value connections and relationships, this will happen to you a lot more because you have a hard time identifying when people don't mean you well. And until you do, you're going to always be taught that lesson through friends and relationships and people around you. And it will hurt each time more than the last. It's so crazy. I talked about earlier in a few videos how if you don't heal from the wounds of your childhood, you are going to find the same type of people in your adulthood to make those wounds worse or to create new wounds that are very similar to the ones you've had previously. So it's not like what I'm saying doesn't make sense. It just it hurts. And I think that's why people don't do it. It hurts. Moving on from people you are comfortable with and you've been close to and who have seen you at your lowest, it hurts because you expected them to be at the next version in the next step of your life, and it doesn't always happen like that. It's not a once you succeed you have to let everyone go, but you have to realize what is stopping you from succeeding, and sometimes it is the people around you. People will say they want you to do better, but it is very rare for you to meet someone when you are at a low point and they see you at a low point and then you start to elevate past them where they're happy for you. It's very rare. It happens, don't get me wrong. I don't want to say it's something that will never exist. No, because I'm someone who exists. And I love when I see people win and succeed. I love rooting for the underdog. But I also think it has to do with who I am and where I've been through. I have been the underdog. I have been the one at times the only one in my corner. I didn't let that change me. I always talk about how just because You may go through a hard time. Doesn't need to make you a hard person. That is my fundamental philosophy. That is my fundamental ideology. I always believe that what you go through is not meant to change you, it's meant to elevate you. So, yes, I love to see people win. However, there are other people, other women, other men who go through things in life and they get bitter and they get resentful and they get hatred towards the environment that created that. And then they feel like, well, because this happened to me when I was sweet and soft, now I need to become mean and hard. And they change not because they want to change, but because life forced them to change. Two people can have the same circumstance, yet one person looks great, acts great, feels great, is great, and the other person is just a miserable lump of coal. Although they've had the same circumstance, it's the mindset that it is within them. So this is what will happen when you don't understand that there will be times when you need to mourn people who are still alive. There are people right now who I have held a mental funeral in my head for. They are still walking amongst this earth. However, they couldn't grace my presence if we were the last two people on earth. I was stumbling to figure out an analogy to say there. And not in a way where you have to become mean and miserable and bitter, but you have to. I'll give you this example. I said I was a lover girl, right? Me being a lover girl means that I love myself first and most. I think being a lover girl has a connotation of being dumb, slow, you're tricked easily, you're bamboozled easily. Until you realize what a lover girl is, and until you heal from the wounds of your childhood, or even if you don't have wounds, heal from the traumas of your adolescent or adulthood, until you heal from that, you're going to be the lover girl that is always hurt and discarded. Understand that being a lover girl is not a bad thing. I am a self-proclaimed lover girl. I love myself first and most. I reap the benefits of being a lover girl because I'm always on my mind. I'm always thinking about me. How can I make sure I have the best? How can I make sure I'm happy? How can I make sure I get to go to the next phase of my life? I'm constantly thinking about me. So when you are a lover girl and you are the first thing and the first person you love, you're going to always win. But also knowing that utilizing the skill of mourning people who are still alive will always make sure that you do not get yourself trapped or get yourself stuck around people, places, or things that do not help you get to where you need to be. You need to understand that at any given moment, you have to be able to let something or someone go for any reason. You need to create a list of boundaries, create a list of hard no's and hard yeses. If this happens, this is what I'll do. If this doesn't happen, this is what I'll do. Have that in your mind, right? You don't need to walk around telling everyone, okay, well, I will never put up with this. I'll never put up with this. You need to know what you won't put up with and what you will stand for, right? Once you have that locked in your mind and your toolbox of who you are and what you think you deserve and what you know you deserve, right? Forget think you deserve, what you know you deserve. Once you have that, next thing you need to work on is being able to release anyone who tries to cross any of your boundaries. You are not a playground. You are not a toy, and you are not a game. You are not to be played with in any way or capacity. And the best way to execute that and show that is by learning how to mourn people who no longer deserve to be in your life. I'm telling you, the moment you're able to learn this and use this as a toolbox, as a skill in your toolbox, you will never lose. You will never be defeated. You will never be hurt. You will never be swindled, tricked, or bamboozled again. But you have to learn this. Getting to your next phase, understand if someone does not know how to treat you with respect, with dignity, and well, you have to understand you got to let them go. You got to let them go. And this doesn't make you bitter. It doesn't make you miserable. It doesn't make you mean. It just means you have such a high standard of respect for yourself that you are going to be the first person to execute it, regardless of what anyone else around you thinks. I love you, diamonds. And if you need help with elevating or transforming, make sure you subscribe to this channel, you share, and I will see you in the next video.